Well, hello! Welcome back to another Maria Fitness vlog. Today we're sharing things you didn't know about me, wellness related, as I love to learn about other people and learn like special things that they did in their childhood or things they like, things they don't like. So today we're sharing a bunch of cool things that you probably didn't know about me. So on that note, let's get started. I guess a good place to start would be my favorite holiday. The holiday that I love most is Thanksgiving because of all the food you get to eat, and it's all like comfort food, savory, sweet, things I don't eat on a daily basis. So Thanksgiving is by far my fave, and also because of just like family traditions. I always usually see both sides of my family, my mom and dad's side, and that's just a really special thing as my family lives in Youngstown, so about an hour and a half away from me, so it's always nice to be together and eating delicious food. Okay, so next thing is my pet peeves, and I did not realize I had so many pet peeves until I started making this list, so get ready for this. So the first one is that I cannot stand dishes left in the sink instead of being put in the dishwasher. Like, the dishwasher and our sink is right next to each other, so when my boyfriend leaves a dish in the sink, I'm like, hey, it takes 5 seconds to just rinse that sucker off and put him in the dishwasher. So that's definitely something that I cannot stand, nor can I go to bed with dishes in the sink. Like, they all have to be put away. Next thing that I hate, or I guess is a pet peeve, is small like interruption noises. I was trying to film a video 2 days ago and there was an airplane noise outside of my apartment, and I was like, the one moment that I literally need to be talking and no background noises, it's happening. We were filming a video a few weeks ago, someone was just randomly sawing wood in the backyard, and that was, stop. Sorry, literally that's an example right there. I hate background noises. It makes me lose my train of thought. I don't have great hearing to begin with, and I can't differentiate when there's a low voice happening while I'm trying to speak. So part of it is because I literally cannot hear myself think or hear the other person I'm talking to when there is background noise. Things touching my neck. I can't wear t-shirts. I hate when my hair is touching my neck right now. It makes me feel like I'm choking. A good solid 14 years ago, I was at Cedar Point going through a haunted house, and I had a hoodie on, and I turned a corner, and the neck of my hood, or the hood of my hoodie got caught on a nail, and I felt like I was being choked, and it took someone behind me to unloop the hood of my hoodie. I thought someone was actually choking me, and so I think that's where the pet peeve comes from. When technology glitches, so when I'm working on my computer and it goes very slowly, or when a program closes out on me, my boyfriend has to come in and he just puts his head on my shoulder like, okay, relax for a minute, because I'm just freaking out and screaming and swearing all over the place, and it's really a dangerous sight to be seen. I have this nervous tick where when I'm out in public, I tend to smell my own armpits, and it's honestly just not an attractive thing at all, but I'm just constantly like sniffing myself because I hate feeling like I smell like BO. Even if nobody else thinks so, I can tell. And so my boyfriend dies a little bit inside each time I check to see if I smell like BO. Oh, wearing the same clothes all day. So I change on an average of 3 to 4 times a day because I wake up, I put on an outfit to work out in, I change for work of any kind. When I come home from work, I change again, and sometimes there's a 4th outfit change in there just because I'm feeling a little like I smell like BO, if that makes sense. Probably the biggest pet peeve of mine is when people complain or don't take accountability for their actions or play the victim card. Those 3 things boil my blood, and I cannot stand the sight of it, the sound of it. Like, usually I have to actually remove myself from the environment because they just piss me off so bad. So one of the biggest things that I hate is anybody complaining, because I think most people complain about things that they're often taking for granted, or that often other people are taking for granted. So I want people to see a little bit more from a fresh perspective of maybe things aren't as bad as you think they are, but in turn you keep complaining about the same thing thinking it will get better when it doesn't. So I am all about what you put out there comes back to you, and the way that you view things tends to be how it actually unfolds. And then the last thing that I guess you would consider a pet peeve is that I hate not getting enough sleep. I get very angry, I get very crabby. I love to get at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night, and anything less is not enough. And people who tell me they can operate on less sleep, I just don't know. I'm a little sketchy of that because literally your brain is wired to get at least 7 hours of sleep to properly function in an optimal way. Another thing that you may not know about me is that I love spending time alone. And actually I was going through these last night and I read this one out loud to my boyfriend and he was like, oh, thanks. But actually I mean time on my own, not surrounded by other people. Like most people tend to want to go out on a Friday or Saturday night with their friends. I'm cool just being at home by myself, reading a book, doing something that fulfills me on the inside and not something that I need to pour energy into. Something else you may not know about me is that I took acting classes when I was little, as early as 5 years old. Thank you so much. As early as 5 years old, and I guess that's why speaking to a camera comes a little bit easier for me, or a little more naturally. But I was a very shy kid and I'm an only child, so my parents were like, hey, let's try it out and just put her on stage and see if that brings her out of her shell a little bit. And it ended up working. The fact that I have a terrible memory. I cannot remember people's names, what I'm supposed to bring with me on any given day, what I'm supposed to do on any given day. McKenna, who is my lovely videographer and assistant, keeps multiple lists of things for me to remember, and I still somehow seem to forget. So that's something that has definitely made my life 1,000 times easier, is having somebody to actually like be in my brain and figure out what needs to happen on each given day on a schedule with a routine, but I still just can't remember. And I think part of it too is because I'm juggling quite a few things, so sometimes the smaller minor details tend to get forgotten easily, but it's still something that I'm working on. I eat a lot of blueberries, so I think it's a myth that blueberries help your memory, but I'll keep eating them and hope things change. My favorite places in this order are my home, the beach, Barnes & Noble, and Youngstown where my family is. So those are my 4 favorite places to be, and I hope to spend my time at any and all of those places. Also the gym. I love my gym. I spend a lot of days there. My favorite TV shows are The Office, which I've watched a solid 5 times through, very in depth, and if you ask me literally any question about it, I will be able to answer it confidently without having to think about it. New Girl, which I just finished, I know I'm late to the party. The Big Bang Theory, because it's hilarious. And right now I'm watching Emily in Paris on Netflix, and it's so cute, and honestly, I never wanted to go to Paris before watching this show, and Lily Collins has convinced me to want to go. So there are many foods that I'm not a fan of out there. I don't eat meat or fish, so that excludes 2 of them. 2 foods I would rather fall in a ditch than eat are eggplant and oatmeal. I hate, with a passion, both of those things. I know they're both healthy and all that. I tried baba ganoush one time and knew, I was like, this is repulsive, something in here is something I don't like. Turns out it's blended up eggplant, so if you do love eggplant, baba ganoush is for you, which it's a Lebanese dish. Okay, so I'm gonna go off on a rare tangent of things I think I'm good at. I'm trying to be more confident in myself, and part of this was examining things I think I'm good at, and I'm gonna end with things I'm working on / am not good at. Things I'm good at, communication and public speaking. That's something that I put a lot of time and energy into. I put a lot of time and energy into the content that I deliver, the technique of how I deliver it. I train my core like a mother, and I sing when I'm on my spin bike, so if I don't have the diaphragm capacity to breathe from a good place, I don't really know who would. My boyfriend was helping me with this, and he suggested showing compassion or empathy. I do tend to be a little more in touch with my emotions, and so it doesn't take a lot for me to empathize with someone. People tend to open up, and it just feels like a natural thing to listen to them. Educating people on things related to wellness. So eating better, making better habit choices, sleep habits, exercise, motivation, mindset, all of those things tend to come a little bit more natural to me. Being quiet. I've been working on being quiet and still lately and not feeling like I have to be constantly moving or constantly in a rush. And so that's been something that I have found solitude in, and part of the things that I'm working on for that is reading late at night. So not feeling the need to be on my phone or moving, just lying still in bed, reading a good book. Achieving a goal. When I set my mind to something, I do tend to be able to finish it out. A lot of people can start something easily but can't find the self-discipline to pursue to the end of it, so I do tend to be someone that follows through with things. Transitioning moods. When I'm in a bad mood, I have worked on, and not all the time, but I find it a little bit easier now than maybe 5 years ago when I'm in a bad mood to crawl my way out of it and not stay stuck in overwhelm or anxiousness or stress or panic or whatever it is. I can move through it pretty quickly and find a calm place. Assuming a role of leadership, I do like to feel in charge and like I'm steering the ship, even if I don't always know what I'm doing. Speaking my mind, not all the time, but it's something that I think when it is important and prevalent, it's something that I can do and deliver without getting emotional. Okay, things I'm not good at. The list could literally go on and on and on. Sports, anything sports related, count me out. I'm very clumsy, very uncoordinated, like all the things that you need to be good at sports, I am not. Anything that requires tedious detail, like attention to detail, tedious little things, I hate, and I typically don't even read. Like if a text message is too long, sometimes I'm just guilty of like skipping to the main parts because I just hate reading details. My brain just can't quite handle all of it. Controlling my emotions when I'm overwhelmed. So in the same breath of being able to transition out of a bad mood pretty quickly, I have a hard time handling myself when I'm in a moment of overwhelm or panic. I tend to just cry and I can't really get the words out because I just feel overwhelmed. But usually I take a couple minutes and then I'm good to go. Knowing when it's time to take a break or stopping when I feel burnt out, I'm terrible at it. Terrible, and it's not until too late that I tend to realize like, hey, maybe I'm feeling burnt out or overwhelmed. I'm trying to pay more attention to the signs, like losing interest in the current project at hand, losing excitement for the day when I wake up, not feeling motivated to eat well or exercise. Like those are all signs that I'm definitely overwhelmed and need a break. Seeing my own self-worth when I'm not feeling my best physically, that's really hard for me. When I'm bloated or when I'm like not feeling great physically, I have a hard time recognizing that I'm still on a health journey, that I'm still trying my best, that I'm still getting done what I need to feel like a human. Checking my ego, but I feel like that's everyone. And letting loose. So I'm actually a very tightly wound person and I have a hard time letting my guard down, being like goofy. Like for example, in some of the YouTube videos, I show more of my real personality, and sometimes I think, oh, is that too weird? Like, are people gonna judge me? This isn't like what cool YouTubers do. And so a lot of that comes from self-judgment and fear of other people laughing at me, when in reality, like, who cares? You know, I don't, but in the same breath I do, because I struggle sometimes. Like even something as stupid as doing a new exercise at the gym, I won't do because I'm afraid to look stupid or do it the wrong way. And these are things that hold me back. So another one that I wrote down that I wasn't sure if I was gonna mention or not was feeling confident in a new environment. I definitely struggle with that, and I do like challenges. I look at new environments, like going to something on my own or going somewhere for the first time. I look at that as a personal challenge to get over and something that I know will make me better, but I'm not any better at it than anyone else. And it's something that I do want to work on, because as a powerful business woman and person who's starting my own brand and all of those things, I do have to be confident, or at least appear confident in those kind of situations. And so that's something that I'm working on, is being able to go into a new challenge and face it head on instead of feeling held back by my own ego. So those are some things that you may or may not know about me. Now you do. Never buy me eggplant or oatmeal, please and thank you. And on that note, thank you for watching.